Hello, hello, my beloved waking gods and goddesses. Welcome to my new YouTube channel, Love, Truth, and Beauty. Do it yourself for divine in the flesh, where our PTSDs, our pains, traumas, suffering, and dramas are golden gateways to waking up and staying awake. Where together we learn how to navigate the ups and downs of the totality of human experience in this perception-managed reality, having discovered that our true divine creative natures in our true sensual sensorial world of 7 senses have all been hijacked and dumbed down into the big fat limited lie of 5 sense reality. Before we get started, please do give this video a thumbs up. Please also help me out by commenting and sharing this video with your friends, family, communities, and social media platforms, and sharing it with folks with whom you feel would benefit from my content. Please also hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, selecting the all settings so that when I upload, the YouTube will let you know. I generally upload Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern. My name is Maria West, and I am your hostess of the highest, here to download, upload, inspire, and usher you into your bestest and brightest light, your bestest and brightest selves, inviting you all to open your hearts wider and wider still. And I want to just ask everybody to just really just kind of settle in, drop in, close your eyes, and let's all receive a deep breath in. Yeah, just letting it out very slowly. Let's receive another deep breath in. And letting out the love that we are. And do it one more time. Yeah, there we go. Hi, darlings. A lot of shit going down, a lot of crazy stuff, and here we are, episode 35, and in this video I continue our excavation of mind control and doing the great work and the great inner work of awakening to truth, specifically addressing in small bite-sized morselettes the various infiltrations of divide and conquer agendas of the powers that want to be, specific to new age bullshit, woke spiritual camps, as in the fake spiritual gurus, fake tantra masters and gurus, fake spirituality, awakened communities, and also the human potential movement that promote their love and light only, and also promotes cult abuse. This is part 3. As I keep saying, the subject is ginormous. Its abuses are far-reaching, twisted, occulted in the pheromone-drenched love and light, airy-fairy, demonic trickery of the innocent humans and heart humans longing for community and having that longing and that yearning exploited, so egregious in its scope, my love. And this is trauma-based mind control and the vampiristic harvesting of divine human creative life force energies, harvesting the loyalty and allegiance of its followers so as to trigger, in extreme cases, mass suicides, or harvest and control trauma healing in the sort of new age bullshit business of spiritual enlightenment, instant spiritual enlightenment, of all that pop psychology, pop spirituality, pop human potential movements as promulgated by the powers that want to be, with their charismatic actors and actresses posing as child welfare leaders, only to be outed for their human and child trafficking, emotional abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, sex scandals galore. And we've all heard the stories of Mother Teresa, the various churches of the world, even Gangaji, John of God, and the fucking list goes on and on. In this video, which I'm going to make relatively short because I know my last few videos have been long. And I want to follow up with some additional comments regarding my last video where I shared with you my own direct experience with a fake tantric master. I'm going to link that over there. I'm also going to link part 1 here, okay, in this corner. And so I'm going to continue the conversation with more journaling and burning exercises, the squares polarity exercises, so that we can begin our excavation of our desires for community and to be in service. Before I forget, I want to thank you all for those of you who have made donations to my work and also your email queries and comments. Your support of my work is graciously received. And I understand with all the narking and brown shirt style fuckery and trolling happening here on the various platforms of the internets that many of you are hesitant to comment. So I really appreciate you taking the time and the effort to go the extra mile in contacting me via email or via social media. And thank you so much. All right. In my last video, I didn't mention that after I returned from my trip to La La Land, I did not speak of what happened for nearly a decade. I'm not kidding you. It was as if the whole experience had been sanitized, or at the very least compartmentalized into a far hidden corner of my psyche. And I want to also mention too that I described to you the sort of physical, pseudo-orgasmic energies that were like seemingly being pumped up and down through my body. So I wanted to share with you that when I finally did excavate this experience with a very gifted healer, that we discovered that every one of my chakras and my auric field especially, were infiltrated and being manned by a bunch of demonic entities, okay? So in terms of energy mastery, what happens is that, you know, our first line of defense psychically and energetically is our auric field. So that's the human energy field, not just the body, but the emanation of the bodily energies and also all the various planes of existence that encapsulate the body. So that's the first line of defense. And so I had a bunch of stuff all over me that contributed, I believe, to the sort of masking, the sort of amnesia of the event where I didn't process it. I didn't speak of it until much, much later. Also in the chakra system, what you need to be aware of is when you are endeavoring to interface with these communities, one of the biggest interfaces that these demons, these controllers, these NSPs, these Narcissists-Sociopaths and Psychopaths will do is control you by courting you here. Our crown center is our immediate direct access and interface with the divine, God, Goddess, all that is, our true organic, cosmic nature. And when this is infiltrated, when we get courted in here by these entities, what they're doing is they're endeavoring to interface or hijack or interfere with our direct connection. So what they do is that they separate us from God, Goddess, all that is, our true divine natures, and they act as substitutes. So a lot of religious fervor, this obsessive compulsive holy roller kind of stuff that seems really unnatural. That's usually what's going on here. Then when they drop in here and interfere here with your third eye, you can't see any other possibilities, so they just sort of block your vision, block possibility, block what it is that you see beyond what it is that you're seeing, because we are in this perception managed reality when we are stuck in 3D, where a lot of the reality that's being decoded through all 7 of our senses can actually be hijacked, can actually be manipulated by these entities. And also dropping in here, we're unable to speak about it. And so a lot of the chords that were affecting me after this encounter, here, and here, and I was virtually just sort of in the state of forgetfulness about what had happened, okay? And of course, it helped that my friend Barbara, who had invited me, she'd ghosted me, okay? So it was like all the shit was meant to be forgotten. And my friend Svetlana, who helped me out, well, she got busy in her life, and we never spoke about it again until recently. So even when I was working through this, many years later, I never mentioned it to Svetlana, and she's one of my closest friends. We've known each other since we were 15. So interestingly enough, after this event, over the 8 years following what I experienced, which remained in the shadows of my psyche, I actually encountered several additional cults under the guise of the uber special human potential movement. And so I want to briefly share. So I'm referring to organizations like EST, the Forum, Summit Workshops, LifeSpring, just to name a few. And in all honesty, I was attracted to these kinds of events and teachings more out of a sense of curiosity, curious about the power structures, power plays of these manipulators and bullies. I wanted to understand what was going on. And just to give a background, I had read Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago as a teenager, and I was fucking horrified by the egregious human rights abuses related to enslavement, imprisonment, false imprisonment, and control. And also in terms of my own personal experience, I grew up in a very violent and very abusive household with a raging, man-hating tyrant of a mother who had the talent of shape-shifting into Jekyll and Hyde style, tricking most people into believing in her beauty and her goodness and generosity, which were feigned, until they would actually witness for their own selves directly, seeing the wicked transformations. So me getting bullied, getting screamed at, having organizations or people kind of lord on me and just kind of like try to crush me, not having it. Now, all of these organizations mirrored the qualities that I witnessed in my own upbringing. And I witnessed in my brief interfaces with these organizations some really coercive behaviors, narcissistic, psychopathic style manipulations, psychological abuse that they engage. So if you are kind of a weak-minded person or someone that hadn't developed a strong sense of self and were inclined to acquiesce with that question, wowie, you are in for some deep shit, okay? So in my opinion, these organizations preyed upon people's desire for community, for family, for belonging. And one of the tactics that they use, which were abusive, through rejection, criticism, verbal abuse, psychological abuse, bullying, sexual innuendo, and sexual assault. And many of its participants already being kind of outcasts, kind of the downtrodden, the black sheep, or perpetually blamed, scapegoated victim. So the need, the desire to be special, to be part of the club, to be part of the elite, to be chosen for these inner circles and these organizations, I mean, it was just too seductive, too good to like pass up. Okay, so the desire to be valued for your beauty, for your brains, for your physical attributes, for your prowess, for your tech skills, for your ability to make money and market, for your organizational skills, your communication skills, only to be set up to be exploited financially, or for all these gifts, your expertise, your beautiful home and properties. I can't tell you how many people I knew who were very, very well off were all of a sudden hosting strangers on their properties all over Marin County and all over the world, for that matter, for these organizations for free. And these organizations reap the benefits with this army of clerical help, administrative help, all for free, hosting in private homes or building suites, giving up building floors of their building suites to these organizations for free or for a trade, so to speak. And I'm going to share with you an eye-opening experience that clearly illustrates some of these tactics and how they get people to do their bidding. Okay, so my first meeting ever, okay, the first thing that happened when we were all sitting waiting for the event to begin is there was an agreement form that got passed around at the start of the event. Okay, now many of these events would be 2 days, 3 days, 4-day trainings, whatever. And so I remember the first time this happened, and it happened in my following tryouts of these various organizations. But the first time it happened, you get this form and I was looking at it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So it's not only that you're agreeing that you are, of sound mental health and you're not on any meds, there's like this sort of medical, very loosely, medical bypass here, that you sort of sign this waiver that you're not going to hold them responsible. But in addition to that, and in addition to attending and your participation, there's also a list of things that they want you, and mind you, they checked it off for you. So all these are pre-checked that you're going to do this, that, and the other thing. Now, back in the 70s when this all began, I was obsessed with black flare pens. They were felt tip, medium point felt tip pens. I don't know why. I'm a writer. I journal, I draw. So pens, fountain pens, love them, love them, love them. So I always had a flare pen with me. And these days I'm into black Sharpies. Okay. So that's just a background. So I have these things in my bag and it started. So now, as a side note, these agreement forms, okay, and the word agreement, I'm going to put it in quotes because these organizations capitalize on this word and what it implies implicitly and explicitly, okay? And in many ways, the lesson of this word really, really served. I mean, I knew what it meant, okay? But because most folks are weasels when it comes to their word, I mean, no disrespect, but most people that I've known, they kind of willy-nilly agree to something, but then they lie that they did it or they play dumb. And with these organizations, they wanted to fucking nail you regarding your commitment. In other words, just like any satanic agreement, you've signed in blood, okay? So those were invoking their commitment, but really didn't know what they were getting into and would try to weasel out by saying, oh, I didn't realize that. Well, good luck with that, okay? So here's what I did. So I remember getting this form, and I'm going, yeah, okay. So one of them was I was going to commit to answering the phones at their office, or if I had my own line, they could direct calls for potential attendees to call me. And so that, you know, there were 2-hour shifts, 3-hour shifts. So there was that. You could stuff envelopes. You could go out on the street and try to recruit people to attend to these events. You could also bring in, I agreed to bring 5 to 10 people. I mean, yeah, okay? So what I would do is I would take my felt tip marker and I'd go, I would just put big lines, heavy lines. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I would just cross out the shit. And leaving, the only thing that I left intact was, yeah, I'm here. I'm here for the next, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever. And that's what and then I would sign my name. So the first time, shown off, my paper is on top of the stack. Now, we are in a conference hall. There's like, how many rows? 30, 40, 50 rows of participants. I mean, we're talking lots of people. And my paper gets pulled out. Who the fuck did this? And I'm like, uh-oh. You know, I see the black flare pen bleeding through to the other side. And so, of course, I'm raising my hand. That would be me. And so the facilitator, who was this big dude, invited me up on the stage. And I'll be damned if this dude didn't get, he was this far off of my face and started screaming at me about what compelled me to think that I had the right to edit their form to my liking. And I just remember standing there. Now, here's the thing. I was primed because I was used to having people in my face fucking screaming at me or hitting me or whatever. So I was completely unfazed by his confrontation. And he went on and on and on. I mean, he was contorted. His face was red. He was spitting in my face. I could smell his like salami sandwich that he had for a snack or dinner, whatever the fuck. And once he was done, I said, can I answer? And he's like, please. So I answered, I crossed those things out because I don't agree with them and I don't have the time and I don't want to. I don't know what you guys are all about, so I'm not going to sign it, but I paid to be here, so that's what I'm agreeing to. The guy didn't even know what to do with me. He just was like dumbfounded that I had like said all this stuff. So long story short, I sit back down. We go through the evening. I found a lot of the exercises actually very, very helpful and valuable because a lot of it was very common sense. A lot of it was, just like really knowing what you're thinking, the alignment of thinking and doing what you feel. However, their tactics were very fucked up, very coercive, very confrontational, just like, the guy in my face. So, anyways, I actually had made the decision that I was not going to go back for the rest of the weekend. I think it was a 3-day. So at the end of the evening, we were all instructed to do some journaling things about something about injustices. And I remember that. And as I was leaving, the facilitator stopped me and offered me a job. I'm not kidding. I was offered a job. So that is my story about that. And so the interesting thing about the job is that the job that was offered me was a recruiting job, where what he said to me was he saw how much I cared for people. He saw how much integrity I had. He saw that I wasn't full of shit. So, needless to say, I just kind of, and didn't tell him my plans, that I wasn't coming back, and I did not go back, okay? So, moving on. I wanted to share that with you because it is really key that you really know what you're up to. It's very key that you know your woundology. You know your weak spots, so that when an NSP, the narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, whether you're dealing with an individual, whether you're dealing with a corporation, an organization, a religious group, a spiritual group, a marketing group, whatever, they study you. And they know they know your things. So they know which buttons to push. And so you have to be very, very aware of your triggers. And I know when I listen to this guy talk, I could feel my triggers, because I do want to belong. I do want to be of service. But I know for me, from the very beginning, it's truth above everything else at all costs. So, all right. So moving on, what I'd like to do now is I want to move on from that to more journaling and burning, to like really keep in step with wanting to make this short. And oh my God, I'm at 26 minutes already. Okay, I failed. But here we are. So journaling and burning, what you're going to do, you're going to use 1 page of paper per heading. You're going to write down the title of each heading on the top of the sheet. And under each heading, you're going to write down everything that comes to mind. You're going to write until you feel complete. Do not censor or second guess or be concerned with grammar. Just let it flow, okay? And once you've completed the squares, there are 4 headings in each square, all right? You're going to put your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your belly, and you're going to recite this blessing prayer, asking for the integration of all that you've written, okay? And I'm going to have all of the instructions in the description box. All right. So the first set, heading number 1, desire to belong. Heading number 2, fear of belonging. Heading number 3, desire to not belong. Heading number 4, fear of not belonging. Okay. Set number 2, heading number 1, desire to have community. Heading number 2, fear of not having community. No, fear of having community. Pardon me. Okay. Desire number 3, fuck. Okay. I can't talk. Okay, let me start again. Set number 2, heading number 1, desire to have community. Okay. Heading number 2, fear of having community. Desire number 3, heading number 3, desire to not have community. Heading number 4, fear of not having community. Sorry, guys. I'm like really, really tired. It's actually 2:30 in the morning right now. Okay. Set number 3, heading number 1, desire to be of service. Heading number 2, fear of being of service. Heading number 3, desire to not be of service. Heading number 4, fear of not being of service. Okay, set number 4, desire to be appreciated for my gifts. Heading number 2, fear of being appreciated for my gifts. Heading number 3, desire to not be appreciated for my gifts. Heading number 4, fear of not being appreciated for my gifts. Now, remember to burn your entries, all these pieces of paper, when they are completed so that you can integrate these polarities and squares thoroughly. Or if you're writing this in a journal book, please burn them when you come to the end of the book. Okay, my loves, that is my speech. I'm sorry I went long again. Sorry, not sorry. It is what it is. Do give this video a thumbs up. Please comment about your experiences and share this with your communities, friends, and family members, and with whom you feel would benefit from my content. Please also hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, selecting the all settings so that the YouTube will let you know when I upload next. And if you find value, enjoy, or benefit from my videos, won't you please consider supporting my work through a donation? My PayPal link is in the description box below, as is my contact information, where you can email me with any questions. Give me a week or two to respond. You can also query about how to work with me one-on-one, or train with me and learn direct from me how to become a force of cosmic nature, to be reckoned as a trauma-based mind control deactivator, and learn my work of the last 3 decades. Or you can also find out how to receive a free copy of my first edition of my book, Left Wide Open, The Rude Awakening of the Heart-Based New Humanity. Or you can support me directly by purchasing one of the editions. The Amazon links are also below, along with my social media, so that you can connect with me. I thank you all so much for your participation and focused attention. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, be the love that you are. Share your love. Be creative, be kind, be considerate. Notice the beauty that you already are. Give thanks and appreciation for who you are. Here's to love, truth, and beauty, my friends. Mwah!